Hi, everyone, welcome to Kin 5181 Understanding Kinesiology Research. I am the instructor, Dr. Zangao, for this course. Please go to canvas.umn.edu and log in your UMN account, and then click Kin 5181. You will find all relevant course material on the modules. This week we will cover the first chapter, Introduction to Research. Before we move on, I would like to reinforce the assignment policies here. All assignments must be typed or uploaded. Name your file with your last name and number and name of the assignment. Number your pages. Place your name on the first page. Double space your work to allow for corrections and editing. Whether you realize it or not, each of us is a consumer of research on a daily basis. These are just a few examples of research that we consume on a regular basis. For example, you may see Apple's advertisement on TV. From the slogan of "Nothing is proven more effective or longer lasting than Apple," we can tell that they conducted a group difference study by comparing Apple with other brands. The same is true for the advertisements for Oral-B toothbrush and Duracell battery. In terms of Revlon skin creams, in just 1 week, fine dry lines and wrinkles are reduced by over 38%. We can tell that it is the result of a descriptive study. To be a proficient consumer and producer of research, you need a thorough understanding of the methods used and an appropriate knowledge base. Research is challenging because exploration of research ideas demand critical thinking. You are going to need to employ high levels of critical thinking to successfully complete this course. Research requires judgment be exercised on both procedural and conceptual questions. Again, this is directly linked to critical thinking. Then, what is your vision of research? Do you think of research as being conducted in laboratory by researchers with lab coats? Do you think of the mad scientist when you think of research? What about sending out surveys to a group of individuals to determine their favorite brand of soda? What about conducting interviews with individuals who attended the Olympics in Atlanta? Observing the behaviors of students in a classroom to determine if a short bout of physical activity changes those behaviors, would you consider this research? In reality, all of these are examples of research. There are a number of different research paradigms that can be used. The actual paradigm chosen is based on the research question. Not all research is of high quality. The methodology used to collect the data is one part of producing quality research. The unscientific methods are often used. These include things like myth or tradition. We have always done it this way and it works, or someone with authority conveys the information. Almost 2 years ago I became a father. My wife was talking about how her mother told her that she needs to start our son on cereal as soon as possible. Her mother was an authority figure to my wife, so it must be right. I had her go to the American Academy of Pediatrics website, which states that solid food should be introduced at about 4 to 6 months. I think the recommendation from the American Academy of Pediatrics website would be much more valid. Along these lines are the use of reasoning. It just seems logical. However, things may seem logical when they are not. If the reasoning is not closely monitored, it can be flawed. For example, if I take the logical reasoning of these two statements: 1. I am a nobody. 2. Nobody is special, I would come to the conclusion that I am special. Now I happen to agree with that statement, but there are many others that would take issue with it. Rather than basing decisions and conclusions on knowledge based on unscientific methodologies, we should use scientific methodologies. The scientific method is very objective, requires data collection and very specific protocol. The steps of the scientific method include: 1. Question defined. This involves selecting the question and precisely defining the problem. 2. Hypothesis stated. Literature reviewed to provide rationale for study and basis for anticipated solution or predicted outcome. 3. Research plan developed. Methodology is developed which will permit examination of stated problem and to test hypothesis. 4. Data are collected. The research plan is executed and the researcher will test, measure, or observe the phenomena in question in order to gather data. 5. Results analyzed. Appropriate statistical analysis is applied to the collected data in order to base a decision to confirm or refute the hypotheses. During this process, new questions often arise. 6. Conclusions. The findings of the research are interpreted based upon the data analysis, thus providing answer to original question. There is not really a universal definition for research. According to the text, research is a structured way of answering questions, a systematic method of inquiry. In other words, it is the systematic process for acquiring information that may be used to posit answer to questions and to generally advance a body of knowledge. Research involves 5 characteristics. The first characteristic is systematic. Problem solving is accomplished through the identification and labeling of variables and is followed by the research design. Data are then collected. The second characteristic is logical. It refers to the procedures used to evaluate conclusions. The third characteristic is empirical. The researcher collects data on which to base decisions. The fourth characteristic is reductive. It means that researchers take individual data and use them to establish general relationship. The last characteristic is replaceable. This allows others to repeat the research or to build future research on previous results.